At a family reunion meant to celebrate our lineage, my brother, Ethan, stood and clapped as our mother slapped me in front of 70 guests, demanding I surrender my hard-earned lake house because I had no future to justify keeping it. The sting of her palm was nothing compared to the betrayal of Ethan's gleeful smirk, as if my erasure was a scripted performance. But that night, I made one quiet call that unraveled their carefully constructed facade. What would you do if your family publicly humiliated you to claim what's yours? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Like this story, and subscribe for more raw, real tales of family and resilience. The email landed in my inbox on a Wednesday, the kind of gray morning where the air smells like rain, but the sky holds out. Wilson family reunion. A decade of unity. No, dear Jacob. No warmth. Just a formal invite from my mother, Elaine, and my brother, Ethan, with a glossy digital signature, like it was sent from a corporate office. I was wiping down the counter in my small Seattle apartment, my tabby cat, Milo, weaving between my legs when I saw it. Something about the subject line felt off, like a sales pitch disguised as sentiment. I hadn't spoken to Ethan in months, not since he'd borrowed $5,000 for business expenses and never mentioned again. Still, I called him. He answered on the first ring, voice bright, too bright. Jake, man, been too long. You coming to the reunion. I mentioned the email's impersonal tone, how my name wasn't even on it. Oh, chill, he laughed, brushing it off. It's just a bulk invite thing. You know how Mom is with tech. It's going to be chill, just family, some barbecue, speeches. You in. I should have said no, but some stubborn part of me, the part that still hoped for a family that saw me, said yes. I packed a small gift, a leather-bound journal I'd filled with old family photos, including one of Ethan and me fishing as kids, back when he didn't look at me like I was a problem to solve. Milo hopped into the car with me, his carrier rattling as we headed from my mother's house in the Tacoma suburb, a place where every lawn was trimmed to HOA perfection. The Wilson house was a monument to excess, white columns, a sprawling deck, fairy lights strung like they were hosting a wedding, not a family barbecue. A banner screamed Wilson Legacy, 10 years strong. I parked a block away, the street clogged with cars. Carrying the journal, I walked up, nodding at strangers who didn't nod back. A teenager at the check-in table handed me a badge. Guest number 42. I'm Jacob, Elaine's son, I said. She blinked, flustered. Oh, sorry. That's what the list said. The backyard was a sea of faces, cousins, neighbors, my mother's church friends. A photo wall glowed under string lights, labeled Wilson Family Memories. I scanned it, heart-sinking. Ethan's graduation, Mom's charity luncheons, Dad's old hunting trips. Not a single photo of me. I stood there, the journal heavy in my hands, feeling like a ghost of my own family story. I spotted Mom by the drink table, her floral dress pristine, her smile practiced. You came, she said, eyes flicking past me like she was scanning for someone better. Dad joined us, gave a curt nod, no hug. Good to see you, I said, voice tight. He grabbed a beer and turned away. By dinner, I was seated at a wobbly card table near the trash cans, the kind of spot you give someone you forgot to invite. The sun was setting when Ethan clinked his glass, silencing the crowd. He stood on the deck, all charm and confidence, his wife, Lila, beaming beside him. Thank you all for celebrating the Wilson legacy, he began, voice smooth like he was running for office. He toasted Mom, Dad, their grandkids, the future. Then his eyes found me. Jacob, come up here a sec. My stomach twisted, but I stood, legs heavy, and walked to the deck. 70 pairs of eyes followed. Ethan's smile was too wide. We've been thinking about the family's future, he said, gesturing to the crowd. Jake's got that lake house up by Hood Canal. It's just sitting there empty. We think it'd be perfect for family vacations, for the kids, for the Wilson legacy. Murmurs rippled. Someone clapped. My mother nodded, her face a mask of approval. I opened my mouth, but Mom cut in, voice sharp. You don't have kids, Jacob. You don't need it. The words landed like a blade. "No," I said, firm. "It's mine." The crowd stilled. Ethan's smile faltered, then hardened. "Come on, Jake, don't be selfish." Before I could respond, Mom stepped forward, her hand cracking across my cheek. The sound echoed, sharp and final. Then Ethan clapped, slow, deliberate, like he was signaling the start of a show. Lila joined, then others, a polite, chilling applause. Mom's voice cut through. "You're a waste," she said, not angry, just cold. "No family, no future." I touched my cheek, the sting secondary to the betrayal. Ethan smirked, lifting his phone to record. No one moved to help. No one spoke up. I turned, walked past the tables, past the untouched journal I'd left on the gift table, and out to my car. Milo was waiting in the back seat, his green eyes steady. I gripped the steering wheel, the burn in my chest not anger but clarity. I'd spent years propping them up, paying Mom's medical bills, co-signing Ethan's car loan, bailing them out when their roof leaked. And this was their repayment. A public shaming, a demand for my home. I pulled out my phone and dialed Sarah Kane, a lawyer I'd met through a work friend. She answered on the third ring. "Jacob, you okay?" "I need to protect what's mine," I said, voice steady. "They're coming for the lake house." She didn't hesitate. "Document everything. I'll start digging." I hung up, the plan forming like steel cooling into shape. The drive back to Seattle was quiet, Milo's soft purr the only sound. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I strategized. Back at my apartment, I opened my laptop, Milo curling up beside me. I had files, years of them. Bank transfers to Ethan for his emergencies, receipts for Mom's hospital stays, texts with a promised repayment that never came. One folder held a draft Ethan had sent 2 years ago, suggesting I gift the lake house to the family for tax purposes. My name was nowhere on it. His was in bold. Another file showed $8,000 I'd sent for Mom's meds when her insurance lapsed. Dad swore he'd pay me back. He didn't. I called Sarah again. "There's more," I said. "Mom's got accounts in her name she doesn't understand. Ethan's been using them." Sarah's voice was calm but firm. "If her memory's fading, that's potential elder abuse. Send me everything." I spent hours compiling PDFs, screenshots, even a voicemail from Ethan begging for just one more loan. By dawn, I had a digital vault of truth. The next morning, my phone buzzed with a text from a cousin, Mia. I didn't clap. "I'm sorry." I didn't reply. Apologies weren't enough anymore. I checked the security footage from the lake house, installed after a neighbor's break-in. There, time-stamped 2 days before the reunion, was Ethan and Lila letting themselves in with a spare key I'd never given them. A man in a suit followed, carrying a notary stamp. They signed papers on my kitchen counter. My blood ran cold. I sent the footage to Sarah. "Trespassing and forgery," I said. She acted fast, forwarding it to the state bar, the county clerk, and a local journalist she trusted. By noon, the story broke online. Tacoma family accused of forging property transfer. Ethan's social media went private, but not before I saw his post. A photo of him and Lila by their pool captioned, "Some people think they're owed everything. They're not." I didn't respond. Instead, I printed every document, backed them up on a flash drive, and locked them in a safe. Sarah called that afternoon. "The AG's office is investigating Mom's accounts. Ethan's been flagged for tax evasion. Your dad's been subpoenaed." I nodded, staring out at the Seattle skyline. The lake house was still mine, but this wasn't about property anymore. It was about truth. A week later, a letter arrived from Ethan's lawyer, claiming the lake house was a family asset I'd been holding in trust. I laughed, cold and sharp, and sent it to Sarah. She replied, "They're desperate. The deeds are ironclad." The online backlash grew. Ethan's real estate business lost clients. Lila's boutique dropped sponsors. A hashtag Wilson Lake House Scam, trended, fueled by the security footage in my bank records, leaked anonymously by someone who'd had enough. I didn't speak to the press. I didn't need to. The truth was louder than any statement I could make. Mom was moved to a state care facility after Adult Protective Services found irregularities in her finances. I mailed them a small box with a quilt she'd made me years ago, her initials stitched in the corner. The note read, "This was ours. I'm done carrying it." 3 weeks later, the noise faded. Ethan's post stopped. The family group chat went silent. The lake house deed arrived, notarized, mine alone. I walked the property with Milo, the lake glinting under the morning sun. The air smelled of pine and freedom. I wasn't triumphant, just steady, like the ground beneath my feet. That weekend, I invited 3 men from a support group I'd found, sons and brothers erased by their families. We fished, grilled, shared stories without judgment. The lake house wasn't just a house anymore. It was a sanctuary. That night, I wrote in my journal. I didn't destroy them. I just stopped hiding their lies. The wind rustled through the trees, and for the first time, the silence wasn't heavy. It was mine.